Hey guys, this is Justin. Unfortunately, Josh is not here tonight. That's part of the reason I'm doing it here at my place. I do though have a special guest that's filling in for him over the phone. Um, it's funny because Josh and I didn't realize his real age or his real identity, and kind of made us feel bad about ourselves and trying to figure out what we're doing wrong with our lives. But I'd like to introduce Harrison Hamm, who writes for Dynamo Theory. Uh, he writes some pretty good articles. I know I bring it up on the show. You guys definitely need to go take a look and listen to his stuff. But Harrison, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us how you got into it, how you started following the Dynamo, and go from there.
Yeah, I'm a high school student. I'm not from Houston, but I've been writing for Dynamo Theory since July of 2015. I wrote originally about the U.S. national team, and I continued on with the Dynamo, and I've grown into writing overall MLS for two other websites, but Dynamo Theory continues to be my primary place. But I am not a Dynamo fan, as many of the listeners to the podcast and readers of Dynamo Theory. So I am neutral, uh, no bias. But so yeah.
About the only thing I was nitpicking on him about was being a Penguins fan. That's only because I have a deep hatred for Sidney Crosby and that team. But that's not for this podcast. That's hockey talk, and I don't even think people in Houston really know what hockey is. Uh, but let's go ahead and dive right into it. The Toronto match. It was I don't even really know what to put on that. Um, it was sloppy. Harrison did a breakdown on Dynamo Theory about pretty much the holes that we had when we're playing these two different formations, and how especially AJD on that last goal was left out there in the open and had to try to make up for playing too close, and pretty much gave up an easy goal to Josie. I'll let you go ahead and break that down a little bit, um, and how this formation can be an advantage but also a disadvantage at the same time.
And yeah, you mentioned AJ De La Garza, and he was almost kind of the scapegoat for this goal because it it was not his fault. It was
Mm-mm.
primarily from the formation, which was, and Wilmer Cabrera originally put out a 4-4-2 diamond as he did in San Jose, or against San Jose, but he kind of immediately switched it to a 5-3-2 that dropped Juan David Cabezas back between the center backs, and that was because I think an adjustment based on their opponent rather than a long-term change, because Dynamo do not have wing backs, which is necessary for the 5-3-2.
Mm-hmm.
But against Toronto FC was to crowd the middle of the field and be able to have two guys consistently on Josie Altidore and kind of putting him in a box that prevented runners, mainly Sebastian Jovinko, from getting in behind, as we saw them do to Chicago the week before and Atlanta 2 weeks before that. And this formation actually worked in general because Toronto lost the expected goal battle to Houston in this game, which meant that Houston, by statistical measures, should have scored more goals than Toronto based on league averages. And it, but there were two main flaws with the formation that resulted in the first goal, and that's what the topic of the article was.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts, the play kind of starts with Toronto passing the ball. They had an 18 pass run build up to this goal, and it was really incredible from Toronto. But by the time it gets to Marky Delgado, the box box midfielder for Toronto, he sees that the Dynamo's back five is so condensed in the middle across the 18-yard box and so deep that it allows other players to, just one player that is not Altidore or Jovinko, to break through one of the lines because the other players are so focused on preventing the two strikers. So, and what happened on the goal is that once Delgado had the ball kind of away from and actually in front of the Dynamo two midfielders, Boniak Garcia and Eric Alexander, Delgado found Raheem Edwards, the left wing back for Toronto, down the wing, and he was extremely wide open because De La Garza was forced to step into the middle next to Adolfo Machado to prevent a fly little run from Victor Vasquez, the de facto number 10 for Toronto, who was kind of drifting toward the channel between De La Garza and Machado. And De La Garza really had a lose-lose situation because he either would move in towards the middle and stop Vasquez's run, which would be towards the middle of the field, or push out and try to prevent a ball across a switch to Edwards. And he chose the former option, which allowed Delgado to hit really a masterpiece ball. It was a great play by Delgado to get the ball out one on the first time to Edwards. And once Edwards gets the ball on the edge of the 18 with as much space as he had, then the Dynamo were really dead from that point. Mm-hmm. And De La Garza got out and was unable to prevent the cross, as I don't think anybody could have been able to. And Altidore made a nice little cutback run on Machado to finish the goal. And that highlights the weakness of playing a 5-3-2 and playing a formation that deep, which is what the Dynamo have done all year. Mm-hmm. And it condenses the field so much that just one little run, and it wasn't even a hard run towards the middle by Vasquez, just one player drifting into that space took away De La Garza from the play, which allowed really that goal to happen. Mm. And this is something that Cabrera will have to see and will have to fix if he's going to continue playing the 4-4-2 diamond.
Now, I mean, do you see an easy fix with this team? I mean, you know, we have the 4-4-3 that's worked really well at home and Kyoto should be back healthy, I would think, this week, to where he can play a starting role. Do you see Cabrera coming back to the 4-4-3 against Orlando, at least in the first half? Because Josh and I were thinking, why don't you go ahead and play the 4-4-3 to start the game? Throw as many balls into the net as you can, and then from there play back into lost my train of thought.
Diamond.
Yeah, back into the diamond in the second half. You know, do you think that this is something that will work long term, or do you think it's going to be more of the same with us coughing up early goals or coughing up late goals or just not being able to play on the road in general? Do you think that we could find a happy medium here soon, or do you really see this as just one of those, it's a total experimenting year?
Well, I think I can't really imagine a scenario that the Dynamo do not continue with a 4-3-3 because Torres, Elise, and Kyoto are just too good to leave off the field.
Yep.
And you can't put them on the field in any formation other than the 4-3-3, realistically, unless they're going to switch to a 3-4-3, which I'm not sold on. But I wouldn't be surprised if Cabrera has that locked away for possibly a late game situation or a goal chasing situation against Orlando. But the 4-4-2 diamond is hard because the Dynamo do not have a top creator on the team. And Alex has played incredibly well. I thought he's been the best player for the Dynamo this season and last season, in my opinion. And just as kind of like a destroyer coming forward and combining well, but he's not going to produce a final ball consistently, and that's what the Dynamo need. So what they should be looking for, and I'd have to imagine they have scouts in Argentina at the moment, at least they should, is looking for the summer window for a DP number 10. They have a DP slot available, and if they do that, then it will really put this team into the elite realm because they do have players in the midfield who can lock down the space behind them. I think I think Cabase's done well. I think Eric Alexander is a serviceable starting D mid in this league. So, I think the one key puzzle piece missing for the Dynamo, and that's something that's been missing for a long time,
Yeah.
is the number 10 and a creator. So, yeah, I think that's what they really should be looking at. And if they don't get that, then I still could imagine the Dynamo sneaking into the postseason. But without a creator, I'm not sure if I'm convinced that they'll find enough points on the road to get in a very competitive Western Conference.
Yeah, I mean, now let me. What do you think honestly is the best way to attack Orlando? I mean, you have you have goal scorers in Kaká, Laren, and Giles Barnes has been playing fairly well for them. Now granted, Giles Barnes probably isn't going to get the start over Kaká, or I don't know how that lineup's going to all get together. But I mean, if you're playing the same kind of formation you were playing at the end of this Toronto match, I don't see an end in the goal scoring from them. I think actually that Orlando is a better team than Toronto. I mean, that's a personal opinion, but they're playing some lights out soccer. Granted, they will have 3 matches in 8 days, so we'll be able to catch them at the end of that. Maybe we'll catch them sleeping just a little bit. Um, but what do you think is the optimal lineup going forward into the Orlando match, um, along with the formation?
And, well, the optimal lineup is a hard thing to figure out. The Dynamo are playing at home, if I'm correct, this weekend.
Yes.
I think. Yeah, so they're playing at home. So I would expect the 4-3-3 to be better. Unless Cabrera is really, really sold on the Diamond, which after the TFC game, I'm not sure if he is. But what to look for from Orlando is they'll play a diamond formation under Jason Christ, who had success with that with Real Salt Lake in years past. And that diamond is different than what Christ did in Salt Lake City. But yeah, they'll create most of their attacks in open space and through Kyle Laren, who's arguably one of the best number 9s in the league in the mold of Josie Altidore. And with Carlos Rivas next to him, who is playing out of his mind recently, and I think Christ has somehow got him like Cabrera's done with Cubo. But with Kaká back, Orlando are a genuinely good team, and we'll see how they do in Toronto tomorrow night. That'll be a big test for them because they're 5-1. Steve.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll look at to the 4-4-2 diamond, which is very narrow formation, and they'll play the diamond a similar way that TFC did last year, bombing their fullbacks forward as much as possible and pinching the shuttlers, which will be Will Johnson and somebody like Antonio Notarino, Savendo Carrasco, or Luis Silva, somebody like that, to play towards the middle of the field to try to cut off as much central channels as possible for the opponent and to create chances for the front two and sometimes will be the front three with Kaká. So this is a perfect opportunity to play for the 4-3-3 because the fullback Scott Suter and Donnie Toya will go forward and allow space like Columbus did with Harrison Hamm for Elise and Kyoto. So yeah, I think given how Orlando will play, I can't imagine Cabrera doesn't use the 4-3-3.
Well, real quick, let me go ahead and close out this Toronto match. In case you guys weren't watching this past weekend, we did lose 2-0 in Toronto. Yeah, Josie scoring both goals. He scored in the 16th minute and the 32nd minute. Kyoto again was subbed on in the 56th minute, so I'm hoping that he gets the start this weekend. It doesn't help our home record at all, or excuse me, our away record, which then again, most of MLS is struggling on the road. If I remember the standings, there's only 2 teams with a positive record on the road. Let's see. I think I'm almost correct on that. 1, 2, yes. 3. You can technically count Orlando City. They're 1-1. No, excuse me. No, they don't count. But winning on the road is tough. Which brings us into the Orlando match. They're 1-1 on the road, 1 win, 1 draw. Overall, between 2 matches, we've only played them twice. It's 1 draw, 1 loss, and we haven't even scored a goal in that. And technically, Orlando City hasn't even scored a goal. Tyler Dare put one in for them in that match. They are first in the Eastern Conference with 18 points. Kyle Larin is fourth already with 6 goals on the season, and he also has the 4th most shots on goals. Like I was saying before, they are playing 3 matches in 8 days, and we get them at the end of that on day 8 for them. So I'm hoping they come in here a little tired and we can squeak one out. I honestly, personally feel like it's going to be tough. I'm thinking a 2-2 draw. I think Kyle Larin and Kaká both net one, and I'd probably have to say I think Kubo, after his not so pretty match up there in Toronto, he actually got the worst ratings on Dynamo Theory from Derek. He only got a 3.5 rating. I'm hoping he can turn it around. I mean, everybody has a bad match, and I think this was just his one bad match. What do you think the outcome is going to be for that match, and what are you really looking forward to?
That predictions are hard in this league.
Yes.
And I used to make predictions, and I failed on every one of them. But I'll go with Orlando winning something like 2-1, 3-1 range. I think they'll kind of close it out late because the Dynamo don't really know how to pass through midfield and get around teams taking back and inviting the Dynamo forward. And the Dynamo they don't know how to keep possession of the ball at all. But I'll be looking forward to just seeing Kyle Larin play and Rivas, because those two are magic up top, and they're different than Jovinko and Altidore, but Larin just has such a quick turn and such a great hold-up play and quick releases on his shot that most of his goals turn out just beautiful goals. And with Kaká behind him, and this will probably be the first time, unless Kaká does start tomorrow night, that he'll play for a full match, for full 90 with Larin this season. Mm. So I think they're a very entertaining team to watch. Yeah. The Diamond is a great formation to watch. So I think it'll be a great game.
Yeah. So real quick, go ahead and tell everybody where to find you, your Twitter handle, and obviously you got Dynamo Theory, and I'm going to read that off here in a minute. But tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, my Twitter handle is at Harrison Hamm 21, and I also write for thecomeback.com for general MLS, and sometimes weekly MLS columns for lastwordonsoccer.com.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on. We're going to go ahead and get into the interview with the Mainland podcast, the Orlando City podcast out there for SB Nation. But again, thank you, Harrison, for coming on, and hopefully we can have you on some more.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Again, that was Harrison Hamm. You know, we gave him grief in the beginning of the season about his article about how the Dynamo weren't going to finish all that well, and as of right now, they're not. You know, yes, they're good at home. They're not that good on the road. So hopefully we could turn that around here soon, because you have to get some road wins in this league. You can't go into the playoffs with absolutely no road wins. It doesn't work like that. You at least need to get some draws. But that's going to lead us into our interview with Mainland. It was recorded right before we went live today. So bear with me if the sound's a little off. It sounded fine when I was recording. But just let me know. It's only about maybe 10 minutes long. We were going to do it live, but they're also recording their podcast tonight. So I'll go ahead and play that for you guys right now. All right. And today, guys, we got Mainland coming on with their podcast that they do for SB Nation. We got Michael joining us to talk a little bit Orlando City and what to really watch out for on our end. The team, we're coming off a really bad road loss against Toronto, who unfortunately you guys got to play this Wednesday. How do you see that going, Michael? Actually, first, let me go ahead and allow you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, no problem. I'm Michael Citro. I'm the founder and managing editor of themainland.com and the host of the Mainland podcast. And the Wednesday matchup is going to be interesting. I think it'll be a real good barometer of where Orlando City is, because the team has really, really struggled at Toronto and against Toronto FC for the last couple of years, and 0-2-1 at Toronto, and has been outscored 9-1 in those 3 games. So those games haven't even been close. It'll be a real big litmus test for the lads in purple.
Yeah. I mean, anytime any team right now has to go into Toronto, it's been bad. I mean, you see how the Dynamo played, and they look lost. And even Wilmer Cabrera changing tactics mid-match, they still couldn't figure anything out. With Giovinco being back and out the door playing lights out, it's going to be a tough test. And what I kind of feel bad about is you got to go from a cold weather place to probably something where they're calling for 80-something degrees, if not maybe some bad weather this weekend too, down here. So I don't know how that plays into it, but I'm curious to see how it all plays out. Tell me a little bit about Kyle Larin, because he's honestly the guy that I think we have to watch out for the most. I don't know how Kaká's going to end up playing into it, considering he came off the bench this week after coming back from an injury, and I don't know how much playing time he's going to get with 3 matches in 8 days. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Jason Kreis manages Kaká, because he's, as you mentioned, he came off the bench about a half an hour from the end on Saturday, and he looked fine. But obviously he's going to take it easy with the captain. He's going to ease him back in, because he don't want a recurrence of the hamstring issue, and I don't know if his plan is to bring him back off the bench Wednesday night and then maybe have him start at Houston, or maybe the other way around, start at Toronto and maybe just have him on the bench at Houston. I think that, as far as Kyle Larin is concerned, the thing about him is that he's always been a goal scorer. That's been his thing since he's gotten into MLS, and kind of a nice problem that Orlando City had in the inaugural year was that, the assumed starting striker, Martin Patterson, got injured in the preseason and wasn't available. Carlos Rivas came in and wasn't effective, and then Kyle Larin got the start and almost immediately started scoring goals. So he's always been able to do that. But what he's doing this year that's even better is he's making more intelligent runs. He's taking defenders away from other players, which is helping open up, other types of attacks. And he's willing to do harder work in the passing lanes and getting back defensively and applying some high pressure. So he's really done a good job in that respect. And he's also been a little bit better in the air this year, not just in getting up and winning headers, but also in holding guys off with his strength while the ball's in the air and letting the ball come to him. He scored the winning goal against LA Galaxy that way. It was a cross in on a corner kick, and he held off a pretty strong player in Jermaine Jones and pretty easily and scored that winner. So and then he was kind of instrumental. Well, he was not kind of. He was entirely instrumental in Kaká's tap-in goal this past weekend. So he's become stronger and fitter, which that alone would have made him better. But he's also gotten he's gotten to be more intelligent, and I think that's just part of working with Jason Kreis.
Yeah. Do you see one of our old friends, our former captain? Do you see him playing a bigger role with these 8 games, or not 8 games? Excuse me, these 3 games in 8 days with Kaká's injury, or do you see his role slowly diminishing since Kaká's back?
I think he's played a really big role. I think Giles Barnes has played an incredibly large role in Orlando's success early in the season, and most of that is defensive work in the midfield. Surprisingly enough, I know that Houston fans are used to seeing him score, and he's, I think around MLS he's known as a dangerous player offensively, but he came over from England as a midfielder, and he's kind of relishing getting back in that role, and his work ethic's been incredible. He had a couple games ago where he only completed 7 passes, and he still was outstanding. And you would look at his stats and think, that he had a very good game, but he really was instrumental in helping win that game. So he's, and I'm talking about the New York City FC game, he completely took Pirlo out of the game, and, In fact, Patrick Vieira took him off fairly early in the second half because he was just not in the game at all. And I think with Kaká back, to answer your question, his role will, just out of necessity because of the limited number of spaces in the midfield in the diamond, it'll be diminished some, but I think it won't be entirely diminished. I think that Giles Barnes may have moved himself ahead of Matias Perez-Garcia in the pecking order, but they're entirely different types of players, and they give Jason Kreis the ability to give teams different looks.
Yeah. It was kind of a sad thing to see him go. I mean, he went up to Vancouver and was completely lost. That team just didn't work out for him. And, Josh and I, we were actually fairly excited to see him go to Orlando because we knew he'd probably get some minutes. And to see the way he's turned out this season, it kind of makes us happy. And granted, we have a better team now, but, we always wanted to see him do well. With the Dynamo, what kind of keeps you up right now? Because, look, we are good at home. We are an absolute dumpster fire away from BBVA. But what players do you see that could really cause a problem for you guys?
Well, I think you just touched on it. I think that home form is very good, and MLS is an extremely difficult league to get points on the road, and Orlando City went up to Columbus and wasn't able to do anything against the Crew in the attacking third. They did have a little bit more success against New York City FC, but that's only because they finished their chances. They didn't have a whole lot of chances. So I think that getting chances on the road has been an issue they're going to need to work on and get better at. I don't know if that'll be any better against Toronto because Toronto is a very underrated defensive club, and they've only given up 7 goals in 8 games. And I think that might be a trouble spot at Houston. And I think, in 2 games against Houston, Orlando City scored 0 goals. Tyler Derrick scored 1 for us 2 years ago, and in Houston scored no goals in those 2 games. So I don't look for a lot of offense. But Cubo Torres certainly is off to a great start, and he's a guy that could make a difference, and he's a guy that Orlando City will have to be aware of, and certainly Jonathan Spector has been just stellar since he's come in this year, and organizing that back line, and Donnie Toya and Scott Sutter out on the fullback positions have been fantastic, and it hasn't really mattered who's paired up with Spector. We had Jose Aja was our starting center back, and then Tommy Redding came in when Jose Aja pulled a hamstring, and the team hasn't really missed a beat with him. So that defense can have its hands full with Cubo, and that's kind of where I think danger is bound to come from.
Okay, real quick before I let you go, what do you think the outcome is? What do you see the scoreline being?
Well, I think it'll be low scoring just because I think these teams kind of are built in a way that will mirror each other. I think it's going to come down to just a moment of magic. Is it going to be Cubo Torres? Is it going to be Kyle Larin? Is it going to be Kaká? I think we might get a little bit of offense in this game. I'd like to see Orlando get in there and get a 1-1 draw. I think that would be a good result to go into a tough place to play and come away with a point.
That's about where I'm sitting. I'm sitting with a 2-2 draw. I think Orlando's just that big of a test. I don't see us blowing them out. I don't see us actually winning this match. I know Josh is going to kill me for that, but I see a 2-2 draw. I see Kyle Larin and Kaká netting 2, and I think Cubo finds his form after looking kind of off against Toronto. So I think it also all comes down to how Orlando plays on Wednesday night. So I'll be slightly invested in that match to see what they're throwing out there, see what we can plan for. But again, thank you, Michael, for coming on. It was fun. Look forward to hearing to you in the future.
All right, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Good luck to you.
Yep, thank you. Bye-bye. All right, well, that was the interview that I had with Michael. As you could tell, the camera kept moving on me. But yeah, Alex, I agree. We need Kyoto on the field more. I honestly feel that is the reason why we have to start with the 4-4-3. You need to get Kyoto in the game. You need to get Elise on the other side. You have to have Kubo, getting a supply. I get what Wilmer is trying to do. But I think when you have three players of that skill set, they need to all be on the pitch at the same time. That's the only way you're going to give some of these other teams fits. So that is that's how I see it. Um, you know, it's just it's one of those. Yeah, you had injuries, but you don't now. You have Kyoto back healthy, and he's already played. Josh, maybe if you're able to comment on this, he's played what 3 matches now off the bench since the international break. I would think he's healthy by now, at least 100%. Go out there with the 4-4-3 and get the job done. You can get it done. So that's also going to take us into out of that match and into down in the valley. I'm going to go ahead and let Carson know to call in. Yeah, 3. See, he's healthy, so get him out there. I think once you have all 3 of them on the pitch again, it's going to go back to the way we were at the beginning of the season. Now, how that translates into road wins, I don't know yet. But I still think you come back and play in the diamond in the second half. I just feel like that's the better option. Birdman, you'll see what we're talking about here in a minute. Let me send this in. All right. So we're gonna have Carson call in with the down in the valley. And then we also after he calls in, we do have a special guest on tonight. I didn't introduce him in the beginning of the show. But we have the technical director / manager for the Houston Dutch Lions coming on, which I'm fairly excited about as they prepare for their U.S. Open Cup run. And here's Carson. Hey, Carson, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Pretty good. So another good win for the Toros. Go ahead and break it down for us a little bit.
Yeah, it was a good one. That was a nice win. It wasn't that their other win came 1-0 against OKC. This one was a little more breathing room. Eric Berg got started early. Joe Holland was again down on loan with the Toros, and he got the assist. He played. Bird threw a beautiful through ball. He had a fast break. Quick move around the goalie, knocked one in. Then Holland actually scored next, and then Escalante capped off the scoring in the second half. But good match overall. They actually came out on the lower side of the possession just barely, which I'm a little skeptical of their possession numbers in the USL because I feel like the Toros I'll possess everyone.
I'll throw something out there. The Dynamo win when they don't win the possession battle. I'll just throw that out there. So right now, I don't really put too much into possession only because we see what the Dynamo do when they do win possession, they lose. So
yeah, sometimes it's weird like that. Yeah, but they had an edge on shots on goal 8-1. Mm-hmm. So they controlled the match. Callie Brown was down on loan as well from the Dynamo. He had one big save, but pretty smooth sailing for the Toros.
Yeah. One thing that did stand out is Joe Holland. He did also get Team of the Week honors for Week 6 down there. I'm hoping that they're grooming him more into a number 10 role. He did look good. I did end up catching the highlights for this match. One other thing that stood out too was the Toros were 1 point away from making it into the top 10 power rankings for the USL, which I know a lot of people don't put a lot of substance into power rankings. I know Josh and I do, but hopefully once they come back from this week break, they'll get another win under their belt and jump up the power rankings some more.
It's definitely another way to measure teams. I know just like you said, some people are kind of poo-poo the power rankings, but another way to measure the team. Yeah, Joe Holland was great. I actually spoke to Charlie Ward about Joe Holland, Englishman to Englishman, and he said he's great. Provides some good versatility in the number 10 role. Can pass, has a decent pace, can push the ball forward, and obviously can score a nice little left foot strike for the goal on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. How do you see him overall? Do you see him as being a viable option for maybe a number 10 role for the Dynamo, say a year or two from now?
Yeah, we've only seen him in 2 matches so far, but like you said, if they're going to give him the chance to continue to develop for the Toros, which I know we kind of discussed a few weeks back. I didn't really see a reason why he wouldn't get that chance. Mm-hmm. And it is a crowded midfield down there, but He's a super talented dude. You took him in the top 10. Obviously, he's a pretty legitimate talent, but you give him time, and he has the skills, and he's one that seems to he just kind of naturally flows on the pitch. So, going forward, he has the versatility to find a good spot number 10.
Yeah. So Josh was pretty excited about Eric Bird. We actually got a little picture that La Carna Narja. Don't ask me to say Spanish words because I can't. Josh isn't here to correct me on them. But he made this picture of Eric Bird. It's pretty funny. Maybe if you go back and watch the feed, you'll see it.
I did. I actually saw that, and I'm a big Eric Bird fan. And every time he scores, I have to send out the customary Birdman, the rapper, gifs on Twitter. But that picture creeped me out a little bit. I loved it, and I was happy, and he has really proven his worth this year in really every facet of the game. That picture creeped me out a little bit. I think Eric's a beautiful guy. He has, a lovely set of hair. But, the picture creeped me out just a tiny bit when I first saw it.
So, like I said, it's going to be a kind of short down the valley, only because I've got another. I was telling the listeners we have the coach for the Houston Dutch Lions calling in before their U.S. Open Cup run. So he's about to call in. But again, thank you again for this week. We probably won't have you on next week because they don't play, unless you want to talk about Golden State blowing this next series that they're going to be in. So.
Yeah, I'm always down to discuss Golden State blowing 3-1 lead or whatever series. Yeah, I'm a Jazz for this upcoming series.
All right. Well, again, thank you for calling in this week, and we'll hear from you soon.
All right, guys.
All right. Thank you. Also, in case you guys didn't see, for the people that are watching live, Josh is on. He, unfortunately, I don't know how to put this, Josh. You can't talk. Maybe some wisdom teeth problem. I only know from experience how bad that could be. Maybe wisdom teeth. Don't know. But he is he's commenting as I'm running a show tonight. But yeah, so as I was saying before we got her down in the valley, Marco Puris is calling in from the Houston Dutch Lions. Going to talk a little bit about their season coming up, the big U.S. Open Cup run that they're about to start against the North Texans Raiders. I'm excited. I'm hoping Josh can still make it up there. We're gonna go up there and try to watch the match. What is that? May 10th. I have it all written down too, and I'm losing my mind. Where'd it go? There we go. Next page. Sorry, guys. It is on May 10th at 7:30. We're gonna be heading up there. It's a drive. It's in Conroe. You're gonna have to leave early to beat all the Houston traffic out of here, but it's worth it. If you have a toll tag, just jump on 99. You'll get there in no time. But let's go ahead and get him on, and we'll talk a little bit Dutch Lions for the Houston Hoedown today, which is cool because I get to actually feature somebody in it instead of just talking about the teams. And then once that happens, I'll throw in the MLS scoreboard from the week and it's set up for the other scores. All right. Hey, Marco, it's Justin from the Peel. Thank you for calling in.
Good evening, Justin.
Yeah, we're really excited. Fortunately, like I was saying earlier, Josh isn't able to come on, but he is commenting as we're live on Facebook right now. But tell us a little bit about the season. Tell us a little bit about the Dutch Lions, how you guys moved up, what your expectations are, and then we'll get into the U.S. Open Cup run.
Yeah, well, we're going into our second year in the MPSL, and preseason started a couple of weeks ago for us in a friendly game against Houston Baptist University. After that, we played against Sanjak, and last Sunday we played against North American University, and we won 2 and we lost 1. But that ain't that bad for now. Next week we'll have a friendly game, and obviously next Wednesday we'll have the big match against North Texas Rayados, the first round of the U.S. Open Cup. Yeah, and we hope after this game that we'll have many more, but that will be quite the challenge.
Yeah, I think, after seeing the track record that you guys have, it's not filled with a lot of heartache. I think that you guys can make a decent run in the Open Cup. Obviously the later
Yeah,
rounds are a little harder because you got MLS clubs, you've got USL
yeah,
and NASL clubs coming in. But how do you think your
yeah.
guys stack up against North Texas and possibly maybe San Antonio, depending on how that all goes?
Yeah, North Texas Rayados is an opponent that for sure you cannot underestimate. They've shown a couple of years back that they could beat the Aston Aztecs in their best years in the PDL.
Mm.
They made it to PKs against Laredo Heat in Laredo. So I think these results have shown that it's a committed team with a lot of experience.
Mm.
So it will be a difficult game. I'm happy that we can host it and potentially also host San Antonio FC.
Mm.
In these games, you'd rather play at home than an away game, obviously.
Yeah.
But we're very excited about it. But we have to be on board for the game against the Rayados.
Yeah. Who, for some of the people that don't really follow the lower division soccer, what is the one player we should really watch out for that can make a big impact this year?
Well, we've had Carlos Acevedo who scored, I believe, 14 goals last year.
Mm.
So that was an excellent number. He surprised us all with that. He did amazing. Unfortunately, we have college players, and Carlos has the final around May 10th, so he won't be available.
Mm.
So that's a bummer for us. But we'll do our best to let him play in the next game. Do our best to get that second game in.
Mm.
But overall, our squad is very diverse. We got a lot of quality players. We have 5 players who are coming in from St. Edward, from Austin, which is a quality school. We got players from Houston Baptist. We got Jorge Contreras, who played with us in the PPL in 2014 and 2015. And yeah, he did amazing. So we're very excited to have him back. He was a 4-year starter at the University of St. Thomas.
Mm.
So I think we can expect a lot from Jorge with all his experience playing in the PPL and on a high-level college.
Yeah. So when your season starts, if I remember correctly, May 20th, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes. Who would you guys be taking on then? And yeah, who would you guys be playing for your season?
Fort
opener?
Worth.
Fort Worth.
Yeah, we traveled to Fort Worth, Paqueros.
Okay. I would think that some of us would actually be highly interested in that only because we hate Southern Oklahoma and all the teams up there. So, we're huge FC Dallas haters, and it's known.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah. So we're all interested. I do want to say thank you again for coming on.
You're welcome.
I know your training schedule's got to be a little busy, especially with the season coming up.
Yeah.
But again, thank you for calling in.
Well,
I'll let everybody know where the match is, how to get up there, and yeah, thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks
All
for having me.
Yep, thank you, Marco.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So there you have it. That was Marco from Houston Dutch Lions. It's pretty cool actually to have a manager of a team call in. I'm going to try to get some of the other teams that are playing here soon to call in. It's going to be a little tight because of training schedules and the season's all starting. But if you are interested to go, ticket prices I'm not sure on yet, but I can't see them being all that much. It is I-45 South. Excuse me, guys. It is the Houston Dutch Lions FC soccer facility right on 45. You can't miss it. It's got a big orange building. And the address is 14562 I-45 South in Conroe, Texas. It's like right there on the Woodlands and Conroe, right where they meet. So definitely go try to catch them this Wednesday coming up. Not this Wednesday, it's May 10th. So check that out. Also, I will open the phone lines up. They are open. We've got some time to kill. You can find us on Facebook at The Peel 2005. What's up, Trevor? You can find us on Twitter at The Peel 05. You can even shoot us an email if you want. Tell us how bad or good we're doing. thepeel2005@gmail.com. And our phone number, which is also up on the screen right there, is 281-849-PEEL. If you can't type that out, it's 7335. You can also find us on Dynamo Theory, Dynamo Theory's Facebook page, and at Dynamo Theory, and then dynamotheory.com as well. Josh, that's supposed to be your part. I can't wait till you can talk again. But to round up the to Houston Hoedown. The Dutch Lions last year did win the South Central Conference. Unfortunately, they fell to Chattanooga in the regional semifinal, but they did come home with a trophy last year, which qualified them into this year's Open Cup. Also, we did have the Dash that went on the road and took 3 points from the Washington Spirit. Kelly Ohio again scored another goal. Sorry, got distracted by Josh's girlfriend. Ha. Kelly Ohio, she scored the 28th minute, giving the Dash a 1-0 win. This puts the Dash fourth on the table for the NWSL with 2 wins, 1 loss, and 0 draws. And they take on the Chicago Stars on May 6th, who they also beat on opening day 2-0. This match is going to be on Lifetime, too. I know, if you're a guy going to Lifetime, it's kind of hard, but go and support your Houston Dash. It'll be May 3rd, or May 6th, excuse me, at 3 o'clock our time. And that's going to be that part of the show. Let me go ahead and bring up the scores from the weekend. There was a lot going on. You had a battle north of us up there in Dallas with FCD and Portland. Yeah, so you had us taking the loss in Toronto 2-0 on Friday. Montreal taking on Vancouver. Vancouver walked away with some road points, beating Montreal 2-0. Orlando, who I've said is on fire, they won against Colorado and Orlando 2-0. NYCFC came back and they ended up beating Columbus 3-2. New York Red Bulls took on Chicago. Dax McCarthy with his homecoming and didn't really help. Red Bulls took that 2-1. And then you had good, Trevor. I hope you can end up going up there. I think it'll be a really good match to catch. You had FC Dallas taking on Portland in Dallas, and it was a 2-2 draw. There was also some fan issues up there. MLS being MLS, or the security being security and not realizing this is a soccer atmosphere and they need to get over it. Minnesota losing at home to San Jose 1-0. Sporting KC blanking RSL 3-0. They're a team that I'm telling you to watch out for. SKC, I think, is going to be a dark horse to win the division or win the conference. Possibly. I mean, I know you have FCD up there, and I know you have Portland, but they're playing some really good ball. You had Seattle that was up 3-0 in this match. 3-0. And they ended up coughing it up. Excuse me. Reverse that. They were losing 3-0 at home to New England. I don't know what I was talking about. And they were down 3-0, came back, ended up getting a 3-3 draw. Either way, you're at home. You shouldn't give up that many goals at home and then have to try to fight your way to come back. Agudelo scored 2. Will Bruin, who, if you haven't seen, is starting on this team now up top for them and playing some really good ball. You've got my horrible Philadelphia Union, who can't even go to L.A. and get anything done. They did walk away with a road point, but still, you still can't score. Jim Curtin's going to get fired here in about a week or two. I put my word out there on that. DC United beating Atlanta at home, which was kind of a shock to me because DC United's kind of been this year. And then that takes us into this week. You have Toronto taking on Orlando City tomorrow, which reminds me, get your fantasy lineups done tonight or tomorrow before kickoff. Kickoff, our time is at 6:30. You have Sporting KC taking on the Red Bulls. There'll be another good match tomorrow night. Plenty of soccer on tomorrow night to watch. You got Champions League tomorrow if you're not home or if you're not at work. You got Champions League with Juventus playing Monaco, and that's going to be good. And you've got MLS closing out that night. You got Colorado taking on Vancouver on Friday. And then you've got a full slate of games on Saturday. Oh, is that what it is, Josh? Josh comments into the show and says that he didn't want to come because he didn't want to show his face because he lost to a Philly fan. That's fine. You're just mad because you lost. Doesn't matter who you lost to. We'll get into that real quick before the end of the show. I got like 10 minutes. You got Seattle taking on TFC on Saturday. Another hard match for TFC. You know, they've got to play Orlando. Luckily, they get them in Toronto, but then have to fly halfway across the country, end up playing Seattle in Seattle. You got DC United taking on Montreal. Philly having the New York Red Bulls coming to town. I'm not looking forward to that. Columbus taking on New England. And then you've got our match at 7:30 down at BBVA. It's going to be on Cube 57. Houston taking on Orlando. Again, I'll go over my prediction at the end. I'll have Josh message in with his. You got RSL taking on Dallas. I think Dallas walks away with that. RSL, they're off that high now. But RSL right now they're off that high that they got after they fired their coach. It's a completely different team, and it's kind of painful to watch them. LA Galaxy taking on Chicago in LA. You got San Jose taking on Portland. I think Portland takes a road win. Minnesota taking on SKC. We all know how that's probably going to end up. And you got NYCFC taking on Atlanta in New York. I think with Orlando's firepower, I think they squeak away with either a draw or a win in New York. New York's good, but Atlanta's also not bad either. And that's going to take us into our fantasy crap. So, in case you weren't aware, we had our first ever Peeled Derby, and I won. The girlfriends weren't too happy about the idea of us shaving our beards, so that's probably out of the question. But either way, next time Josh is on the show, hopefully he gets his mouth fixed, and he will come on wearing the FC Dallas shirt. Do I feel bad about it? No. I honestly don't know how I took the win from him. It was what was it, 66 to 64, Josh? If you're listening, go ahead and message in. But it wasn't pretty. I actually, because it's getting tough, I got projects I'm working on in school, my work schedule. I actually only made one change and I still beat him, which is kind of hilarious. Let's see. Yep, 66 to 64. Kubo kind of cost us. I don't remember if he had Kubo going, but it wasn't pretty. You did have the participation award going to what's his name, Chase, only scoring I think it was 40 points. Let me go over. Where's his name at? Bear with me, guys. I know it's here. Yeah, Chase only scored 40 points, so he got the participation award, which is funny because we all thought Eric was going to win it this week, but he didn't. So that's got me in second in the standings. I am chasing 2-1 Dynamo. Hold on that, Josh. I did move up to second place. I got 7 wins on the season with 2 losses. Josh stayed even again at 6th. He is now 5 wins and 4 losses on the season. And somehow Eric still is not in last place, and I'm still trying to figure that one out. But as for that, Josh seems to think that it's going to be 2-1 Dynamo. He thinks Dynamo taking an early lead on Kyoto and Kubo scoring. Kyle Larin opens the scoring in the game. I'm going to go with 2-2 draw. I think that's best case scenario in this match. I just think with the way Kyle Larin is playing and the rest of that Orlando team, I think a win at home is going to be tough. And I would be extremely happy with a draw, only because of who it is. We played another, extremely good team in Toronto, got our rear end handed to us. Portland, rear end handed to us. We don't play too bad against these teams, but we don't play well enough to win. Yes, I know it's at home, but I don't see a home win. I just find that too hard with the team that's coming in here, especially with Kaká now coming back, and they have him to where he can come off the bench. Yes, they are going to be tired, but what if he only plays Kyle Larin, or not Kyle Larin, you have him. I don't know if Kaká plays this midweek match. I would keep him for the Houston match. Then again, they are playing Toronto. Either way, this is 2 tough matches for Orlando going in. But with that, I only got a couple more things to cover real quick. This past week, Pachuca did end up winning the Champions League. It came on right after we recorded last week. They beat Tigres 1-0. Franco Jara scored to seal the title for Pachuca. It's their 5th title in the CONCACAF Champions League. The 10th edition, the 2017/2018, will start in August. We already have 4 MLS clubs that are qualifying, and we could possibly have one other through the Canadian playoff, which starts May 3rd, so tomorrow. You've got the Red Bulls, FCD, Colorado Rapids, the Seattle Sounders, all qualifying for the MLS clubs. I think out of those, I honestly feel like FCD and Seattle Sounders are probably the only ones that are going to move forward. I don't see Colorado this year making it because Colorado's not that good. And the New York Red Bulls, I don't know. They're a tough one to pin. Um, Real quick with the MLS standings, let me go into that. That loss did drop us down in the fourth place. And then with the Portland Timbers and FCD match, Sporting Kansas City actually ended up moving up in the second. Um, so Dynamo are still sitting with 13 points. They got 8 matches played, 4 wins, three losses, and 1 draw. The goal difference is good, but we need to get some road wins. That's pretty much going to do it for me tonight. Josh isn't here, so I don't have anybody else to BS with for a few minutes. But that is going to do it for the show tonight. I hope you liked the interviews. I had fun with those. Thank you again, Harrison, for coming on. Thank you, Carson, as always. Thank you, Michael, from the mainland. And thank you, Marco, for the Dutch Lions calling in. It was pretty cool. I hope to get some more of those interviews lined up. But join us again next week. Hopefully we'll be at Eighth Wonder. Hopefully Josh is feeling better because it is also going to be our 30th episode. You guys have dealt with us for 30 episodes, and thank you. But that's going to do it for us today. I'm drinking Love Child, by the way. It's I don't remember the name of the brewery, but it's good. It's a sour. But as always, unfortunately, Josh isn't here for me to cheer. Thank you for listening, and forever orange.